People often say speak up, but most times when you do, nobody's actually listening.
Chioma, you're pregnant in my
Everyone
house.
just judging.
You this good for nothing.
Chioma was the kind of girl people admired quietly, not because she tried to be noticed, but because everything about her felt calm, decent, untouched. She dressed modestly, always in flowing gowns. Her cornrows neat, her eyes were soft. The kind of girls mothers pointed at and said, "Be like her." Nobody knew what was happening behind her father's closed doors. It started with fear. She couldn't explain. Then silence.
Chioma, you're pregnant
Then
in
the
my
weight
house.
in her body.
You this good for
The
nothing,
one she
child.
tried so hard to hide. But
What?
truth doesn't stay hidden forever. The day her father found out she was pregnant, something in the house changed instantly. The air cold, heavy. He didn't ask questions. He didn't even wait. The accusations came in first, then the slap. It was
You
loud and
shameless girl.
final. Her head spun, her ears rang. But what hurt her the most was her mother,
Chioma, you're pregnant in
standing
my
there
house.
and just
You
looking,
this
not
good for
saying
nothing,
anything.
child.
She couldn't even defend her.
what?
Chioma tried to speak. She tried to explain. Her voice was shaking, breaking, begging to be heard. But her father already decided who she was. She was a disgrace, a shame, something to throw away. Within minutes, her things were outside the house already. No discussion, no mercy. And before she could even understand what was happening, he picked up his phone and started calling people. He called her aunties and uncles and told everybody not to take her in, cutting her off from every place she could run to. Every door that could open for her, he told to shut. And that night, rain fell like the sky understood her pain. She stood outside her best friend's house, soaked, shivering, holding on to the last piece of hope she had left. When the door opened, it lifted
Please
for a
go.
second.
My father said I
just
should not
a
associate
second,
with this.
but it dropped even faster. The look on her friend's face said everything before the word could even come out. "I can't help you," she said. "My father said not to associate with this." The door closed shortly, but it felt louder than anything Chioma had ever heard in her life. That was the moment she
Where
understood
will I
she was
even go
truly
from
alone.
here?
Her uncle was the only one who said yes. For a moment, it
Let
felt
me
like
go to
everything was
Uncle
coming
Igwe.
together.
Maybe
It
he
felt like
can
she
help.
actually had a place to be in. She slept on the bed again,
Don't worry,
ate
Chioma.
warm food,
I'll take good
but
care of
safety
you. You
didn't
enjoy
last.
me, oh.
It never did. One night, everything broke again.
Enjoy
The
you?
same
How
fear,
do you
the
mean?
same helplessness,
I mean what
the
I
same
said,
silence
Chioma.
forced into her throat. But when it was over, she didn't scream. She didn't cry. Something in her just shut down, like her body was still there, but her spirit had stepped away to survive. Before morning came, she left, no shoes, no plan, just the instinct to run before something would happen. The road was long, empty and endless. Her legs were weak, her body heavy, her mind blank. She kept walking until she couldn't walk anymore, and then she collapsed. What could have been the end of her story? But it wasn't. An old woman found her lying there, fragile, broken, barely breathing. She didn't ask too many questions. She didn't judge. She just helped her up and said, "Come with me, young lady." For the first time in a long time, Chioma felt something she didn't recognize anymore, and that was safety. The woman's home was small, but it was warm, clean and quiet, and very peaceful. She gave Chioma food, water and a place to sleep. No pressure, no interrogation, just care, real care. Days passed and then weeks. Slowly, Chioma's body began to recover, but her heart was still heavy. One
It
evening,
hurts so
sitting
much.
outside as the sun
My
was
child,
setting,
I'm so
she finally
sorry all
spoke.
this happened
Her
to
voice
you.
was
Thank
slow, shaking, almost like she was afraid the truth would hurt someone else if it came out. And then she said it. It was my
I
father.
don't know if I can
The
do
words
this.
hung in the air like
Hush now,
something
child. You are
sacred and
stronger
painful
than
at the
you
same
think. I'm
time.
so
She
scared.
explained everything.
My
The
father raped
abuse,
me and
the
drove me away
pregnancy,
from the house.
the rejection,
My
her
mother
mother
didn't
not
try to
believing her.
defend me.
All of it.
My
And
uncle
when she
also almost
finished,
raped
she
me
didn't
even with
look
this
up.
pregnancy,
She
but I ran
couldn't.
away, and that's
The
how you
old
saw me
woman
by the
didn't speak.
roadside.
Immediately,
I am
she
so
just held
scared.
Chioma's
Don't know
hand
if I
and
can go
said
through with
slowly.
this.
She
My daughter
shared her
also
own
died during
pain.
childbirth
Her
after she was
daughter had
raped.
once been like Chioma, young, beautiful, full of life, until men in the village took advantage of her, impregnated her. She was shamed and ignored. It was time for her to give birth, but she didn't survive it. My daughter died during childbirth after she was raped, she said. The old woman had been living with this emptiness ever since. That night, something passed
Grandmother,
between
they
them.
silenced
Not
us.
just pain,
My
but
heart said me, my
understanding.
daughter didn't
A
get
bond
justice,
deeper
but
than
this time
blood.
justice
The
must
old
prevail.
woman looked at Chioma
Grandmother,
and
they
said slowly,
silenced us.
"I couldn't save
My
my
heart
daughter,
said me, my daughter
but I will
didn't get
save
justice,
you."
but this
And
time
she
justice
did.
must
When
prevail.
Chioma went into labor, the old woman stayed right there beside her. Through every scream, every tears, every moment of fear, she held her hand, wiped her sweat, whispered strength into her ear. years, and when the baby finally cried, Chioma cried too, not just from pain, but from relief, from survivor, and from the realization that despite everything, she was still here. Life didn't magically become perfect after that, but
God,
it
what
became
do I do?
possible.
Should I
The old
speak
woman
up?
didn't just give
Would
her
anybody
shelter,
believe
she
me?
gave her direction. She encouraged her to go back to school, to rebuild her life piece by piece. It wasn't easy. There was nights Chioma cried herself to sleep. Days she doubted herself. She would say, can I even do this? Who do I even think I am? How am I even going to get there? What will I even become? If she could ever be more than just her past. But the old woman never let her give up. Years passed, Chioma changed, not just in age, but in strength, in purpose. She chose law, not because it was easy, but because she understood what it meant to be voiceless, and she never wanted another girl to feel the same way she felt again. Then she stood in the courtroom for the first time. She wasn't just a lawyer, she was proof that pain doesn't just have to be the
Your
end.
Honor, justice
Then
must
one
prevail
day,
for
a
me,
case
my
came
father,
in.
my
A young
uncle.
girl,
They
same
must face the
story,
law.
same silence,
Your Honor,
and something in
justice
Chioma
must
refused to
prevail.
let
Chioma,
it
you're
go.
pregnant in my
Something
house.
came out. Our
Enjoy you.
father,
How do you
our
mean?
uncle exposed
I mean what I
and
said,
arrested.
Chioma.
For the first time in her life, they couldn't hide behind power or fear. They couldn't silence anyone. Justice finally caught up with them. Later, her mother came to see her, older now, weaker, carrying regrets in her eyes. She apologized. My daughter, I am so sorry. I failed you. Saying she could have listened, Chioma looked at her for a long time. The pain was still there. The memory didn't disappear, but she saw something else too. A broken woman who wished she had done something better. And in that moment, Chioma made a choice. She forgave her, not because it was easy, but because she refused to carry that pain forever. With the woman who chose her, the woman who became the real mother. And sometimes, in the quiet evenings, a child played outside and the old woman watched with a soft smile. Chioma would sit there and breathe, because after everything she went through, it didn't break her, but she survived.